Welcome to another GC 365. My name's Ruben, and this is my buddy.
I'm Jason. Hey, it's March 5th.
We'll do it really fast. You just jump into that, and then, yeah. Sorry, that was my bad.
Come on, shake it off. Let's go.
Man.
And who knows, maybe the editor will miss this.
Yes, exactly.
Man, that was my bad. I should have just kept going.
Let's go.
Didn't I say keep going?
Yep. He's going to kick us out.
Oh, yeah. Man. All right, ready?
It's like a fun session.
Maybe. All right, ready? Welcome to GC 365. My name's Ruben, and this is my friend.
I'm Jason. Congratulations. It's day 64, March 5th. You did it. Way to go.
So you told me you had something for me today.
I did. And I wanted you to be aware of the debilitating disease that Ruben suffers from for years, and it still affects him as a major Atlanta Braves fan. So I put a little Mariners hat out just so maybe God hears and accepts this sacrifice.
Yeah, I am a huge Braves fan, and I like the fact that you're bringing some diversity to the table. So it's not just the Braves, but I wanted to put some decor on the table as well. And I brought my Braves tomahawk, and we are going to just put it on top, chopping the Mariners. But yes, if you know me, I'm a huge Braves fan. And my kids, I have two older ones. I wanted to make them like me, where they love the Braves. And obviously, as a parent, when you try to push your kids to do something you want them to do, doesn't always work out. So I had two options. One, keep pushing, even if it got to the point that they didn't like me as much. Or option number two, start from scratch, have a new baby, and I'll get back to you guys in 10 years to see how it worked out.
Speaking for myself with a 21 and a 19-year-old, that's not an option. Good for you.
Yeah, well, I'll get back to you on how that actually worked out. But yes, congratulations, day number 64. This is exciting. For me, this is my fifth time, and I had to do a little bit of math, kind of go back in. My first time I read the one-year Bible was back in 2017. And we actually started
with Accelerate.
And that was fun. The only thing is we started around this time frame, around March, right? And they gave us two options. One, catch up, which I did, which was interesting. I had to read a lot. Second option was
just start where you are.
Yeah.
If you're picking this up and this is your first day, no stress. Start here, stick with it, roll with it. You really like it.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I mean, for me, 2017, for you, around the same. You did a year before.
It was a long time ago.
So we'll go with 2017. But for you guys,
competitive here.
Yeah. Do me a favor, type in the chat the year that you started, the first time you got introduced to the one-year Bible. And if it's 2021, type it in with pride. It's awesome. There's always a beginning, right?
That's right.
But let's get started. So today we're talking about in the Old Testament about numbers.
Numbers 4 and 5, hands up. Who has a hard time with numbers? There's certain parts of the Bible that are just tough for me that I tend to start skimming through. I'm not sure. Numbers 4 is all about the duties of the Levites and wrapping this with the blue cloth and that with the fine goat skin. I don't know about you, but I've not dealt a whole lot with goat skin, fine or not. I mean, the only skin that I can really deal with is pig skin, but I'm not sure the football's even pig anymore.
No.
But this was Numbers 4. Ruben asked me to read it. I read it. And what was interesting about it is I started noting that these Levites, their service was small stuff. If it was the Bible according to Jason, this chapter would have been condensed to pack the stuff up, get it to the next stop. We're moving. But God talks very specific instructions on what he wants the Levites to do. This stuff, these Levites were worshiping as they served. They were, the traditions that they passed down on how to do things was worship of God, honoring God. It was an interesting way of God using these small things to set up traditions to remind these people how to worship in the little things. The person outside waving you as you drive in, the person saying hi at the door, the person making sure you find your seat. These are not high profile things, but it's a way for Jason to worship God, to serve God, to honor God through these things. I love that I saw that in this.
And I think that's good because often we talk about when somebody's helping now, serving, they're doing something to help the church, help people. But the big piece is that they're worshiping God, they're honoring God, and that's awesome.
Something to remember.
Yeah. For me, Numbers chapter 5 was a little bit interesting.
See, and I had a hard time with this. So,
Well, what I like about this one, it talks about protecting marital faithfulness. So it talks about where God tells Moses that if there's a person, a guy, and they suspect that their spouse, their wife, they're having an affair or they're having other relationships with other people, that they need to bring it up to somebody's attention. And what I mean with that, they would actually bring the attention to the priest. There was like a ceremony or more like a ritual, the process that they had to do to
the
determine
bitter water stuff.
Yeah, to determine if they were guilty or not. If they were not guilty, then you're fine. They're immune of the effects. But if they were guilty, it does talk about it in Numbers 5:21. It says, at this point, the priest must put the woman under oath by saying, may the people know that the Lord's curse is upon you, and when he makes you infertile, causing your womb to shrivel. I mean, to me,
abdomen to swell.
Oh,
it sounds painful.
It's very painful. Now, I know this is going to a show that I watched years ago, Cheaters, and to me, I believe like maybe that show started with this verse, Numbers 5:21. Probably not. But the whole point of that show was they wanted to catch people in the action, right? Catch them and pretty much put them on the spotlight.
Note here, parents, if your kids are watching this is not permission or suggestion that they go watch that cheater show.
Make them go back to Numbers 5:21 and read that.
Maybe your kids should. It's up to you.
But what I like about this one, that it talks about how in the Bible, it says to put you on the spot to others to know your shame. So they talked about that. They wanted people to know when they were guilty, when they did that action. But it was even worse because there was pain, like their stomach and all that. But then also, you wouldn't be able to have kids. So if somebody made a mistake early in their life and didn't have any kids, then they wouldn't be able to have kids. So that's...
Last thing that we'll leave you with, Numbers is about as hard as it gets. There's a couple other books of the Bible that are hard too, but if you can get through Numbers, it gets easier. Grabbing stuff, making it more personal to you. Keep rolling with this.
And I did have a question with this section because it talks about how if it's the female who made a mistake, the wife, the guy has the process to be able to find out if they cheated or if, to find out.
It's another question for God when we get to heaven.
Yeah, because is there something the opposite where it's the, what about for the guy if he's the one committing the action?
Are they testing guys? Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. Let's go to Mark, New Testament, Mark 12:18 through 37. What stood out to you?
For me, it initially, a good chunk of this is built up on this question from this Pharisee of, guy's married, he dies, it's his brother's responsibility to marry the woman, have a kid for the guy, he dies, down through the brothers. The question that this Pharisee asked is, in heaven, who's the woman married to? To me, this is an ultimate snarky question of just looking to cause a fight.
Yeah. It's one of those like what ifs questions that kids
ask. It's a what if that you get from the kids. What if this happens? What if that happens? And if I was Christ, I'd have been like, dude, wait till you get to heaven and ask God. The other side of that is, even if this was a legitimate question, it's not going to happen till we get to heaven. So wait till you get there. He'll tell you. God will tell you.
Focus on getting to heaven.
But this is another example of the traditions of the church. While it might, there's a good part that gets touched in Numbers of helping us get in the mindset of worship. This is an example of traditions swinging the other way and becoming burdensome and becoming something that doesn't really have any effect. But I also love Mark is then the next bit was they ask Christ, what's the most important thing in the Bible? And he brings up the verse of to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. These are this love that God asked for, and the obedience is the most important part. And it made me think of another portions from Mark 51, I believe it is, and then 1 Samuel 15, where he said that again. It's not important, the sacrifice that you offer. It's important where your heart is. Are you loving God? Are you loving a man? And are you obeying God? The Samuel bit was Saul was told to go wipe out the Amalekites, kill everything, man, woman, children, goats, dogs, cattle, everything dead. Well, he does the battle, wins the battle, but brings back all this stuff, all these animals as a tribute. And he says he's going to sacrifice them to God. Samuel lights into him.
Yep.
It's not about the sacrifice. It's about you being obedient, King Saul. I love that. I love seeing the similar messages in the different parts of the Bible, kind of like the extra times of God saying, hey, Jason, catch this, hear this.
Yep.
It's not about you making sure you wear a suit to church, Jason. Is your heart right? Are you loving people? Are you loving me? And are you obeying me when I talk to you?
Going to the basics. Love your God, love your neighbor. Couldn't say it any better. That's awesome. What about in the book of Psalms? I know that this is one of your favorites.
Now, you said you didn't like Psalms.
I struggle with this one. It's probably because I get little bits and pieces. I think I need to go back and read the whole book for it to make more sense for me.
See, I always love Psalms because I'd be curious to count the number of times David references God's unfailing love. Yeah. That's all over the place. And there's another one here, but when he wraps it up, he's here in verse 14, talks about how God secures his people, protects his people. Verse 14 says, for that is what God is like. He is our God forever and ever, and he will guide us until we die. God will guide us for life. All we have to do is listen to him.
That's good. See, normally when you say something so powerful, that's when you drop the mic, right? Can't really drop the mic because I don't know how to take it off. So I guess we have to keep going.
This is one that even I can catch.
I like the next one, Proverbs. 2 quick lines, right? It talks about lazy people and how they irritate their employers. For me, back in the days, I used to run big groups, 100 plus people. And that really frustrated me when people wouldn't step up or they were just lazy because they had so much potential. And that always bothered me a lot. And that's a good advice for employers, like maybe get better employees or, but how can I relate it to today's reading, to Mark and Numbers? And I think it goes back to love your God, love your neighbor. Because when you love your God, you could say like, yeah, I love God. I want to go to church. I'll sit down, I'll watch. But if you're not, moving into the action piece where I'm going to stand up, I'm going to pray, I'm going to have a connection with God, then you're not really taking advantage. You're being lazy. You know what I mean?
And the other side of that is, as Christians, people see us and identify us as Christians. And I know it's easy to walk in, sit down in the pew, sing, listen to the service, and then walk out, and that's it. Yeah. We miss an opportunity. God misses an opportunity to use us. We miss an opportunity to be used by God if we're a little bit lazy. And that's Jason pointing at me saying, step up, do something. It doesn't need to be anything.
No, and like you said, like for other people, because people see us, goes to the second one. Love your neighbor. There's people that might not be just helping them physically, but being there for people and making sure that we take care of them, that we ask how they are. So no, I think that's good. And I try to teach my own kids, don't be lazy, don't be comfortable. Make sure that we always step up and focus on loving God and your neighbor.
That's the other word. Maybe other use of the word lazy is don't be comfortable.
Yeah.
Step out, do something.
Anything else that stood out to you or any questions you have?
I appreciate you for asking me to do this.
Well, I'm glad you came. I know that it got a little bit rough at first, but even in the Bible, it talks about forgiving. So I forgive you for the mariner sad, but that's okay.
Again, Numbers is about as hard as it gets. If you can power through this and keep going, so many things jump out every day at me. Anyway.
Well, if you like this, don't forget to like us, share it with your friends, and we will see you again tomorrow for another GC 365.